Welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. The prophet Hosea lived at a time when the Israelite nation was nearing the bottom of a long decline from vast riches and power to being vulnerable to Assyrian invasion. Her politicians' answer was to try to make a treaty with those foreign rulers that would spare her from their unappeasable lust for Israelite territory. God told the Israelites in Hosea 5:1, "When Ephraim saw his sickness and Judah saw his wound, then went Ephraim to the Assyrian and sent to King Jareb, yet could he not heal you nor cure you of your wound." Of course, the quarrelsome Assyrian king could not heal the wound which he had inflicted. After all, it was God in his mercy who had brought this haughty people to such a point of desperation in his effort to woo them away from the dark worship of Baal they had so foolishly substituted for his laws and mercies. How darkened, how misguided were leaders who could not look beyond the menace of the Assyrian sword to the words of their greatest spiritual leaders. There was a story of Moses' song as he stood on the eastern bank of the Red Sea, in whose waters Pharaoh's army had perished. There was Joshua with his vision of the captain of the Lord's host who came to fight for Israel. There was David with a ringing courage in his psalms, declaring mighty God's deliverance in 100 ways and a whole range of deliverances in between. God was still God, and he still wanted to deliver. But once again, sin and gross departure from God had led to the end of an era between God and his people. Within a few years of the time Hosea prophesied, the Assyrian invaders swept over Israel, despoiled it, and deported 10 tribes into captivity, from whence they have never returned. For this invasion brought about the end of the nation of Israel, leaving only Judah. All this story would be nothing but ancient history to us if not for the lesson it contains, and that is a sad one. It is so usual for people to try to solve their problems by turning to the force which created them. Put another way, most people are their own worst enemy. Israel's unrest was caused by the threat of a foe. In just that way, people today are made restless by their foes. The avaricious person lusts for more money, not realizing that no amount of gold can satisfy the longing in his soul. He who holds grudges longs for revenge, unaware that blood leads to blood, that vengeance is always hungry. The unrest, which really is a symptom of a deep spiritual need, is a messenger sent from God. We terribly misinterpret the true source of anything that disturbs us if we only look at the occasions from which bring it about. The greater purpose of all that troubles us is to urge us closer to God and away from our Assyria, whatever shape it might take. Hosea ended his wonderful ministry, filled as it was with dark prophecies and fiery denunciations, with words that are only surpassed in their tenderness and channeling of God's great heart in the fuller revelation that came through Jesus Christ. Asher shall not save us. We will not ride upon horses, neither will we say any more to the work of our hands, Ye are our gods. For in thee the fatherless findeth mercy, he wrote. He was inspired to give Israel a divine answer, destined to echo through the ages to the benefit of many a soul in the ages since, for it is universal. I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely, for mine anger is turned away. And then this, which is the secret to redemption for every needy soul. Take with you words and turn to the Lord. Say unto him, Take away all iniquity and receive us graciously, so will we render the calves of our lips. Words, only simple words, something anyone can give. Words like, I'm sorry, I was wrong, please forgive me, please wash away my sins. Just words, but sincerely spoken, uttered in belief, they have the power to bring again the ancient deliverances and stay the enemy's swords. They hold the power of salvation. Have you talked to God today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.
Hi, I'm Sue Taylor, and I host the Faith to Live By podcast, available from the Sky High Podcast Network. Are you looking for a little spiritual pick-me-up as you begin your day? Each weekday morning, I have a short devotional thought to get you going and give you something to reflect on as you go about your day. Faith is not just something you need when you get saved. Faith is something you live by. Look up Faith to Live By with Sue Taylor wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe today.